Good afternoon, Michelle. How are you?
Hey, Mark. Good. How are you?
Good. Hey, it's April. We're going to talk March of 2021, and we're going to talk Monterey County. Let's dive in.
Well, we're sticking with the let's answer three questions.
Okay.
What are you hearing out there? So we're hearing from our agents and we're trying to push data back that could answer some of these critical questions this time of year. So definitely going to talk about prices. Certainly going to talk about new listings and why that's a little iffy right
Okay.
now and what we can do about it. And then just the competition of the market, Mark. So, sale to list price ratios. And that's going to round us out.
Good. Let's go for it. And
So
there it is. Let's start with the big
yeah.
one.
It's still shocking. We just looked at it 2 minutes ago, and it's really a substantial price appreciation. I sound like a broken record, but man, that is a significant jump. That's a 15% jump month over month to another all-time high of 950,000, almost $1 million median in Monterey County, which reminded me of San Mateo County, which is almost at $2 million an
Right.
all-time high. Neighboring, Santa Clara and Hollister, San Benito County, also all-time high. So definitely not alone in Monterey County, but that is pretty big. I have a help, calculating these stats. Thank you, Alicia. And it says 65% increase since 2019, right?
Mhm.
So home owners are feeling quite good at this moment. I mean, if you look back and compare this March 2021 to March of 2020, you can see there's quite a bit of price appreciation, especially in some of those bigger markets. So we see Pebble Beach, look at that Pacific Grove. The coastal
Right.
making some positive changes, but interestingly, like Pacific Grove up year over year, but down 16 month over month. King City all-time high, but only two sales. So this is a little bit interesting. I think maybe pay attention to the median sale price for now. That median sale price column, because that's what's most important. I think Salinas is an all-time high with a lot of sales, 59. Anyway, lots of price appreciation on that list. We did see some declines though. So that just means that this March 2021, not as strong as March of 2020 in some half, right, of the um, cities in Monterey County, which I think is really interesting. Some marginally like Seaside, but some are some big shifts, Big Sur, volatile,
Right.
bigger market, more expensive market. So not unusual, but look at that Monterey. So last March was actually, quite good. Um, and the
And remember,
payment.
it
So
was hard to get to Big Sur this year.
yeah, that's
It
the
wasn't the
other thing,
easiest place to
right?
get to in the world. So,
That's a great point. And also, keep an eye on Monterey because we're going to talk sale to list price ratio, right? So you might
okay.
have paid a little bit more on that end too. Now, there's some folks out there that might be saying, hey, I don't want to compare this March to last March. There's a
Right.
pandemic. Hello, Michelle, Mark, what's wrong with you? I still think the pricing is actually a pretty good comparison to a year ago because even half the month was a very strong month and it didn't change it, right? So the half the sales that didn't come in didn't necessarily affect median price. It just wasn't like a complete month. But for those of you who want to look at some momentum, maybe I threw on a lot of data. Sorry about that. But look at all these cities month over month changes. Um, so you see that then the market shifts quite a bit too with half positive, half negative. And so, it's if you're on the positive year over year and month over month mark, that's the signal of a strength market, right? So
Right.
you're heading in
But
that direction.
this pricing could be affected by the inventory not being there to support the pricing, right? On some of those.
Could be. That's usually one of the biggest dictators of median price, right?
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. So it depends on where you are. But even as we look at the common interest market, the county, Monterey County at 609,000, that's a 47% increase month over month, 37% increase year over year. So we're seeing these markets. I mean, those percentage changes. Again, this is a little bit like the percentage change difference is not super
Right.
critical right now, but look
Right.
at that huge um, different. The Pacific Grove, by the way, two closed sales, which
Got
is
it.
how you
Got it.
get that.
Well, look at
You
that,
know,
but Pacific Grove, Pebble Beach, Carmel Valley, Carmel, Monterey, that's a cluster of,
yeah,
of strong sales taking place in the common interest area.
yeah, for sure. So it depends on where you are, but we're
Okay.
seeing. I mean, that's how you get an all-time high price, right? So on the single family, that was common interest, not the same, but that's usually. Kind of takes common interest with it, albeit they have different kind of patterns
Exactly.
generally.
So let's take a look at those new listings though, Michelle.
I know people are going to say, well, Why are you talking about new listings? It's kind of a tough one because we only saw half a month worth of new listings a year ago, but it's still a really important stat. And especially when you're looking at all-time high prices and really tough information for your buyers, the only thing that could put downward pressure on that is, supply, right? So increasing the number of new listings. And so, while this is a 2-month increase, unfortunately, it's not as much as we like to see. So it's going to, I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but that's the way that you see a little bit more of that supply coming through. And we just haven't seen it right in the last few months in Monterey County. Now, the slide that's a little problematic, and we wrestled with whether to put this in or not, is this one, because the percentage change, that right-hand column, that percent new change, we largely can disregard that because
it's not
last
really fair.
year was only a half month.
Right.
Yeah, it's just really a half month. We saw TFTs and withdrawals about the 17th of the month. That means that it was only about a half a month of new listings. And so, yes, we would expect that new listings this year would really dwarf new listings last year. So let's not pay so much attention to, the percent change, but rather what's coming on the market. And that's good for some of these areas. Although, it's saying that's just relatively as strong. Look at the bottom half of that list. Relatively as strong for a whole month in 2021 as in 2020. That's what we're saying about not having as much inventory we'd like.
Right.
And I put decreased new listings. So there were actually cities where a year ago was actually higher number of new listings than this entire month of 2021, March of 2021. So it's not an across-the-board sweep. We saw this in all the other counties as well. It depends on where you are, but these new listings that decreased this year, that's going to, that's how you get those upward pressure on prices.
Right.
And so we'll, talk about it next month, but it's just really tight. And then common interest, right? So common interest, same thing. You would expect to see mostly increases. We did see some decreases. The percent change largely disregarding. So then you say, well, what should I look at? And so while I don't normally cover this is the Aculist Weekly. And so these are weekly stats provided by Aculist every Tuesday morning. This is new listings, but we also do pending and closed sales. And we compare 2021 to 2020, but also 2019, recognizing that 2020 is not a great stat comparison to 2020. So we know that. So we put 2019 to show you, hey, we're much more aligned with kind of a quote unquote normal year, as you see on this graph. So when you're looking, you have buyers and sellers in the thick of it. This is a great weekly up to the minute data to provide to them to show them what's actually going on. So for the next, I don't know, 60, maybe 90 days, things tended to be kind of better by June. So, definitely April, May. This is a really great secondary backup to how you should look at how, new listings are coming on. So,
okay, good idea.
Just wanted to throw that out. Yeah, so that's how we're going to deal with new listings here for the next couple of months. It's still an important stat, as is sale to list price ratio. And the reason for that is that we're seeing, look at the right-hand side of the graph, so not the 109 we saw in Santa Clara County, not even the 106 or whatever we saw in Monterey or, Hollister. This is happening all over. So 2% higher than it was a year ago. I mean, this is, this means March has been 98, 99%. So 100 is a little bit different, right? And saying that with those all-time high price, you're also seeing sale to list price ratio at what people are asking on average. Here was the breakdown of the cities, where you can see here where this March 2021, higher than a year ago. Lots of over 100s. Not unusual to see the luxury markets, Pebble Beach and Carmel Valley and stuff, Big Sur, underneath 100 or less than 100.
Right.
But this is where you see, wow, this is, you're seeing a lot of cities on both lists, right? Up in median price.
But compared to the neighbors, this is reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, don't tell the people in Santa Cruz, right? I mean, it's coming. There were some cities that decreased. So that means a year ago, the sale to list price was a little bit higher. But I mean, that's, but each of these cities were also up in median price, right? So there was just a little bit of break on the sale to list price ratio. So it's just climbing. It's happening all over. Even when you look at the common interest market, a little bit more mixed, but look at all those over 100. The county's at 101%. Pebble Beach, I think that for common interest, Pebble Beach, interesting, all-time high, highest median price since April 2020. So there's a lot of price appreciation out there, Mark, and people are paying higher prices. Have to keep in mind that sale to list price ratio to set the expectations. Not as much choice, moving very quickly. I mean, unfortunately, Mark, we're not a lot of good news for the buyers, but we'll be back next month, and you never know what will happen in Monterey County.
Exactly. And that's why it's fun having you with us, Michelle, because you always bring us a story that we don't know the whole thing, but you certainly give us a lot of facts. So thank you very much. Looking forward to seeing you in May, because we're going to talk about April. Bye now.
Take care.
Make sure to check out our pro support page for additional videos on a full range of topics. And don't forget to click that subscribe button on our MLS Listings YouTube page.